be taken away. No patch changes. We've got a fair bit of practice time on 14.12 so far.
Yeah.
We're going to be taken away from Yahoo.
T1 opening with a bit more of a targeted ban here. The Sejuani as well, not something we normally see ban first rotation. So they're kind of leaving the power picks open, and they're specifically just trying to punish DRX. And the thing is, DRX, they're banning the Clifton Ash, makes complete sense against T1. I wonder if the Rumble might be the third ban, or maybe the Senna.
Tristana, please ban Tristana. Just ban Tristana. Ban Tristana.
I don't think they have enough bans. I think Tristana's a great ban, but you know, there's so many picks still open and available that it's such a problem to deal with. T1 actually themselves banned the Rumble, so maybe frees up some space. I think the Senna, the Tristana, still things that I have in mind. Even the Talia, we've seen a bit more in the early bans.
I think Senna is still, it's still probably Senna, isn't it? Because then you're empowering carriers so much, and the Corki, the Tristana, we've seen Corki handshook quite a lot more, and actually down in Challenger the other day, I was seeing that Corki can pretty comfortably sometimes actually win the matchup into a Tristana, even though we just haven't seen that really here in the LCK. The Senna will be lapped up though, as the Twisted Fate is the final ban from DRX. So Skarner to come out, maybe, I mean, okay, Skarner Zyra.
That's certainly an option.
That's certainly not Tristana, is what I'm saying.
Even though it's not a lane counter, team fighting as a Nautilus, which is the favored pairing with the Senna, into a Zyra is painful. It's so hard with all the plants in the way. The problem is, though, by doing this, you've allowed T1 to pick up not only the Senna, but also the Tristana we were talking about.
Senna, Tristana, Nautilus, dude.
Yeah, it's a pretty good rotation.
Yeah, I'd say that, if I was Tom, I'd just walk off the stage. I'm like, well, I'm not needed. I don't need to be here anymore. We've just got the picks. Take the tier list and go pick the ones that are at the top.
I could see them maybe hesitating on the Nautilus, just the fact it's in a Zyra, and also they don't know the support pick. So maybe they go in a direction like top here or jungle, you know, securing something for Zeus. Looks like they're fine with it, though. They're just going to secure that Nautilus. It's such a strong parent. Not as strong. I think the AD carry itemization changes definitely weakened it a little bit. Still very strong, but not quite as broken as it was in spring. And DRX looking towards AD mid laners, just because they do have that Zyra. Most people would think the Corki in this situation.
Could you imagine if he just says, like, nah, man, I'm playing Yasuo, and just locks it in? Like, I would be so confused, but so happy. Platter and Yahoo actually having a lot of giggles with one another as well, as the Leona was locked in there. Still need an AD carry, still need a mid laner, unless we're going to be flexing Zyra into mid. But I don't think anyone does that anymore.
And I think DRX probably going to be looking to ban junglers out here. Actually going for the Xante. I'd have thought the assumption is going to get an AP jungler from Owner, so perhaps going to target those. Corki, no surprise to be banned by T1, targeting those AD mid laners that we expect Yahoo to pick up.
Yeah, the Xante feels like a little bit of a no-brainer just because it's been the most successful pick into the Skarner so far, alongside the Twisted Fate.
It is a trade pick, so I think it makes sense.
Yep. And I think DRX kind of knew what T1 were going to do. Like, you're handing them some of the strongest champions in the game. So if you don't expect them to pick them up, then obviously something's going wrong. So they knew that this was happening. So this might be something that they've practiced. This might be the answer that they've had. We've seen when Canyon's piloting the Zyra, it looks extraordinarily powerful, but we have seen an example of when Zyra just doesn't work. As there is Ezreal alongside the Leona. Teddy's Ezreal has been legendary, although he wasn't playing it in the 94-minute game. In fact, Bang was playing that against him on his Sivir, as that's a Nidalee.
Do they just Nidalee Renekton it?
I mean, Nidalee Renekton would be the only way that I think I'd be all right with the Nidalee, and even then I wouldn't be all right with the Nidalee, you know?
Yeah, as you know, we gave Canyon the pass. Ona did get OBGG Player of the Week.
He did.
Does that allow him to play Nidalee? We'll have to see.
He is also...
We'll have to find out.
So generally, Ona is allowed like 1 or 2 games of Nidalee per year. I'm pretty sure that's how it is.
Quota.
I think it's like is contractually allowed to play a few of them. We have seen this from him many, many times. We know that he loves to play the pick. Haven't necessarily seen all of the success, though, as that is an Azir. Doesn't exactly spark all of the joy for me, personally.
Yeah, we've seen Azir do pretty well in the Trist, all things considered. You know, typically that was a counter matchup back in the past, but we've seen it recently doing pretty okay. It does mean they are very AP heavy on the side of DRX. I guess the thought process is the only tank is that Nautilus, but that Nautilus is going to be hella tanky. And I mean, even the Gnar in Mega is going to be tricky to burn through. So I feel the damage profile from DRX not ideal. I guess maybe more focused on picking for matchups. T1, I think the Nidalee and Gnar, you know, I think obviously it's picks that Zeus and Ona, I think can make work. But I think their first 3 was a lot stronger, inspired a lot more joy.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And I also think that it is a bit dangerous playing the Nidalee without setup. But if they play the Nidalee as heavy counter jungle, it could be a way to potentially get in there and try and disrupt things if the Zyra is getting to work. But
yeah, and I think they do have the Nautilus still, so perhaps we see, you know, if bot lane finds a lot of prio, we see, you know, maybe the Senna and the Nidalee look to challenge in the enemy jungle. We've seen the Senna roam often, and just the Nautilus setup is so fantastic for those spears.
I would agree. I think that T1, if you look down the line, this is a terrifying draft. This is a whole lot of power. We've got the zoom in on the Nidalee, though, definitely where the majority of the question marks will lie. Here on the side of DRX, magic damage abound, but they also have a lot of consistent damage in general. I think Baron would just melt if they looked at it. And the Skarner's getting the zoom in because that has been pretty powerful in the past. Fun drafts on both sides. Jump to the rift for game number 1. All right, here we are. Headhunter Nidalee as well. It's been a long time. That was one of my favorites for a really long time because I didn't get Bewitching Nidalee when it first came out.
Yeah, I had that skin. You know when AD Nidalee top used to be a thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a period where I was playing that a lot, and with that skin.
Oh.
Getting some spear value there.
A little bit. And
he threw 2 though and only hit that 1, so it's a 50% so far.
We go with 50. Got some backs coming on in here as the spear is going to
33.
Hit. Yeah.
Dropping quickly.
It is. It is. Hopefully it just holds on to the cooldown so we don't lose that one. If Gatoran is in chat, if you could just tweet at me the accuracy percentages of the Nidalee like you have in the past, that would be absolutely fantastic. And Sponge, let's see whether he has a better time navigating the Zyra than we have seen other times. Because we've seen some, you know, accidental starting of Raptors by activating a plant in the wrong spot and stuff like that that can really wreck your clear. So hopefully Sponge is clean with it. Faker making sure that Yahoo is just not allowed up to the wave. And he's going to have to start drinking his potion pretty early on here.
We've seen, you know, I feel like in the last week when we've seen a bit more of the Azir into Tristana, it's a very trade-heavy matchup.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Karis who was playing it, and it just like every time we looked mid, he was like no mana and like 20% health. Oh.
Well, Gumish has been lit on fire already. Pleta walking up to him.
You know, I love this. This was such a popular strategy in the LPL where Leonas would just go E level 1 and just E on the squishiest person.
Yep.
And just auto them, and just that's enough, you know? And getting the cleanse already pretty powerful for DRX and potentially the ability to set up in the bot lane. We can see Zyra, Sponge pathing towards the bot lane. When Canyon played the Zyra, he used his speedy clear to impact lanes when he had the extra time.
Yeah, it was into a pushing bottom lane on the opposition. KT were playing very far up, and I don't think T1's going to have quite that luxury, but it might work in their favor.
Threaten a dive, honestly. Senna's so
could be an idea.
You know, maybe Pleta like flash stun into follow-up. We'll see. Ona is, of course, on this side of the map as well, so it might be a little bit of danger if you got to follow with that. And, you know, you're talking about Ona's quota on Nidalee. 10 games definitely feels like he's very specifically had to stick to that quota.
Yeah, he hasn't gone over it very far. You know, maybe it's like 2.5 games, something like that. Still been doing a fair bit of winning on the champion. As Keria taking a lot here. As Sponge making his way down. Dredgeline gets Keria out of there. As Teddy with a 60% win rate on this Ezreal, as Yahoo is taking so much damage. We're kind of used to this, as you were talking about. Thankfully, we were set up for just how brutal this lane can be.
I just imagine like the Azir, like bleeding, struggling, like, no, this is how the lane's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, I'm fine.
Don't waste a band-aid. Yeah, but it's looking like he does need one. Still getting back to about 300 health. Sponge here to try and defend. Will be walking in. Faker has already rocket jumped. And now Sponge going to try and find some damage here. Not even going to get the Comet, because of course that plant doesn't slow. And DRX just going to allow Faker to live. And they will grab a reset onto Yahoo. We'll see what he's going to be able to pick up when he does go back home. 10 CS the advantage here for Faker, though, on the coveted Tristana pick. I can feel Wolf's frustration. The fact that Tristana exists in this game. Turret shot going to land on the platter. That is not great news, but Gumayusi, the one suffering the most here. Teddy throwing down quite a few autos and Mystic shots, but it is going to be a decent trade in the end for either team. Frog just trying to deal with the Gnar as best as possible. And this is like, there are Gnars and then there's Zeus' Gnar. And Zeus' Gnar is probably the most difficult to deal with here in the LCK.
Yep, I think that's a fair statement to make. But he's doing all right so far. Oh, look, they both teleported back on full HP. You know what that means?
Quickly start trading. Thankfully, Shifting Sands is available this time around, so Yehu's able to mitigate a little bit of the explosive charge damage. There you go. That's something.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Well, Sponge moving on over. That is going to be Faker taking a fair bit of damage there as well, aided by the plant at the same time. Actually, doing a lot of scouting with his plants, something that Zyra can definitely do. Haven't seen as much of that as Sponge.
Oh, the patented Zyra stealing Raptors.
This is not what Nidalee likes either, because Nidalee, like, she also clears like a maniac, and so not having the camps to get to is pretty sad. Bottom side of the map now going to be cleared out here by Sponge. Going to start moving into a bit of an advantage here in the jungle. First Dragon, not really looked at just yet, as the grub's going to be up in about 25 seconds. Will be important. Like, if T1 gets too many grubs, DRX are going to be hard-pressed to stop Faker from just eliminating every structure on the map.
Yeah, we see their pings coming out. They assume they see the Raptors are gone, and we actually saw Ona pinging the brush, knowing that if they came and took the Raptors, there'll be a ward there. So we see Guma sweep that one out. And we can see on the other side, you know, Teddy's very confident.
Oh, Empress Divide going to be thrown down. Faker rocket jumping, trying to get away. As Sponge is moving in. Oh, this is so dangerous. The flash has to be employed. And Ona not able to get too much, but does manage to nail that minion.
Yeah, really nice play from Yehu there on the Azir, doing well in this matchup. And, you know, Faker makes the correct decision. He rocket jumps towards the top side, away from DRX. And Ona?
Yeah, still just fighting Sponge here, but doesn't have a mid laner to support. And Ona just trying to get aggressive. He does have a Mega Gnar making his way down. Still takes a fair bit of damage there. It's enough with the threat of the prehistoric Yordle to get DRX out of here.
But I think
lock it
DRX,
down some shellfish.
They should have confidence here. Faker's still low. The Mega Gnar is now gone. Pletter is here. And you can see Sponge is challenging. We do see the Scuttle Crab going over to Ona, but not willing to let the grubs go.
Yeah, level 6 has been hit here by Ona, though, as there's the Zenith Blade. Pletter actually going in, grasping roots. Comes down as Ona is the focus, but Faker's already dived in. That's the first blood, and it goes to Tristana. Gets the reset there as well, as Frog's rotated down. It is a disaster for DRX, although they only lose one. They should also lose the grubs off the back end.
And the big thing is Ona is level 6. Obviously not a huge boost to the Nidalee, but if Zyra had her level 6, that would be an entirely different situation. Isn't able to use that ultimate for the self-heal, and because Platter went in aggressively, weren't able to do anything to help Sponge. Yehu doesn't have his ult as well. So once the cooldowns are unavailable, we just saw Sponge go down and Guma kind of pick up. Oh, he actually missed one.
Oh, missed one. Savage.
I think he got enough.
It's okay. 3 grubs going over to T1. Absolutely fantastic here as Faker trying to get this wave pushed in once again. Let's check it out one more time.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is they use all their CC on Ona, which is just a signal to Faker that you can go in for free.
Yeah, and they'd already used the Empress Divide to try and kill Faker there before. They got his flash, yes, but then Yehu didn't have that to try and fight back.
And the thing is, with it being a Tristana, you don't really have to concern, like, once you get the kill, you're getting out again. You got the rocket jump reset. Means you don't have to trade your life when going aggressive like this. So solid play from T1 will pay off and give them the triple grub. We'll see if DRX try and get this dragon on the other side of the map. Obviously T1 are now moving down towards that, but it is a Chemtech dragon first, so likely to be a at least half decent soul.
Yeah. And no matter what it is, it's going to be beneficial, I think, on either side. I'm looking at the mountain value very high for Leona and Skarner, as well as, of course, Keria on his Nautilus and Zeus' Mega Gnar. There's a lot of things that could be very powerful. Of course, Cloud, obviously the best option. We'll see what they do manage to pick up as Gumayusi Keria just holding onto the wave. Keria will be able to lock all these down very comfortably as Frog has been taking a beating, but otherwise he's doing fine.
Hasn't lost a plate yet, so, you know, and he's...
As you say it, but yeah.
Well, one plate and a little bit down in farm, but mostly holding up okay.
All right.
Sponge looking for something. He's not actually on vision, but now he is on vision.
Yeah.
Well, the plant will not even hit them. It hit the minion and then it died, so...
Suboptimal, somewhat. But they do spot that there is a control ward in that brush, so at least maybe they'll be able to go over and clear that one out. Teddy has been farming pretty efficiently. Wants to be able to get to that 2-item spike as much as possible, or as quickly as possible. Neuramana and the Trinity Force should be coming in. As Faker and Yahoo still just hitting one another with abilities over and over again. That explosive charge is going to do a lot of damage, and Yahoo not able to answer back too much. Does have the Emperor's Divide back up again. No flash just yet for either mid lane though, so could be a target perhaps. You can see that Fleta is already moving over there. And Carrier dealing with that bottom wave, but Gumiushi free to roam, so he'll use that, go for a bit of a reset, see what else that T1 can find. But so far they have been set up in this early game to do exactly what they want to do this game, and that is, honestly, they can play very patiently. They can allow Ono to try and use his advantage in the jungle to stop Sponge from running over the map and things like that, but they can also just wait until Faker gets enough range, enough items, and Gumiushi gets enough stacks for them to be this brick wall that DRX will not be able to get through.
You can see Ono looking at challenge on the Raptors there. He's really started to take over in this matchup and pull a bit of a lead now.
Oh yeah, this is really dangerous. Grasping Root's going to get double value, but I don't know whether it even matters. Stranglethorns comes in, the knockup comes down. Dawning Shadow and Faker gets in there. Now Yahoo just trying to get himself out. The Emperor's Divide did absolutely nothing. Splatter trying to take matters into his own hands, but T1 just going to grab another one for their mid laner.
Yeah, super nice flash there from Ona and DRX. They saw blood. They thought they could punish the Nidalee. Ended up overlapping a little bit there. Yahoo's ult doesn't connect, and it leaves Sponge once again vulnerable. 0-2-0 now on the Zyra. Down a couple of camps. Not an ideal spot, not where you want to be.
Absolutely not. Rocks being thrown around by everyone here on this top side of the map, but we are going to get away from that now. Yahoo and Fleto with Gumiushi and Faker here in this mid lane. Bit of a duo lane scenario as we've crested the 10-minute mark. And DRX, I mean, when is the good news going to start? You know, when are they going to be able to find a play that actually works? I feel like their composition at this stage does have a fair few tools to fight. They just haven't been able to make them work out together.
Yeah, I think at least the thing you can have confidence in is that Teddy's farming really well. So when he's starting to join these plays, like usually you can maybe look to him. I think the problem is here, the ult is going to knock Ona up. And Yahoo reads it and goes for the shuffle before seeing the knockup register. I feel like part of the problem was Sponge was so low, he felt like he couldn't hesitate. But it's just a really nice play from T1 there.
Yeah.
And they're continuing to apply the pressure. They're now going to look to get 6 Void Grubs. And
6 Grubs is, that's going to be very difficult to deal with, especially with Zeus sitting in a side lane so much. Faker as well, his split push is so dangerous.
Yep, such a big threat. And it definitely feels like DRX. There's a significant goal lead built up now. It's 12 minutes, 2,500, but now they're looking for Carrier to answer back.
Yep, potential dive here as there is the flash attempt onto Sponge, but they haven't picked up the turret aggro just yet, and he's used everything. Frog able to avoid as now Carrier should be going down here. Mystic shots, it's going to be able to be Teddy picking up the kill. And Frog seems to be okay for the moment, although he's not out of the woods just yet. Oh god, this must be so scary for the little Skarner, or the lawnmower, or the terrifying large Skarner. Whatever it is, he is in a whole host of trouble. Gumiushi does not want to be tanking this one as the Impale goes wide, and that means they can pounce on in and grab the kill. Ona very close to going down there, but the juggling is pretty good.
Not much more you can do, honestly, in that situation. No TP from Yahoo to come and save. Try to hold on to his cooldowns as long as possible. And unfortunately, you can't. It's trade kills on both sides of the map. A lot of plays going over to either side as well. Teddy now very fed, but you see the gold spread about a bit. 41. Zeus got a pretty significant advantage here. And Carrier, I think, saw that auto coming for him and thought Sponge took aggro, but he actually autoed the turret. So really smart from Sponge to bait that out. Zeus now in trouble.
And after flashes, yeah, walls don't really mean too much here for Frog, and finally the Stranglethorns get some value. DRX on the board. It's not quite going to be enough to really change the tone of this game as they're still behind about 3,000 gold, but a win's a win.
Yeah, still a huge deficit in terms of gold, but DRX are at least making something happen and haven't just lost their way in this game. Scary thing as well is that Tristana with 2 kills in the bag. Faker, we've seen Tristana be such a problem in the late stage of the game. I know like the increased range she gets obviously meant she was always a bit of a scaling pick, but with the 80 carry item changes, she's been even more of a menace recently. And Zeus just overstays, thinks he can take the tower down before Frog turns up, and ends up miscalculating, and that ends up losing his life as a result.
Yep, still is able to get the turret though, so I guess that is a large reason as to why T1 still has this advantage in the gold that is quite meaningful.
That is a lot of plate gold.
Yeah, these structures really have been taking a beating, and T1 putting those grubs to work. This bottom outer though has taken a fair bit at the same time, so we'll see whether DRX can augment their coffers a little bit with that one. Teddy just trying to push Carrier away, and Carrier not really even noticing that Teddy exists here in this lane because he's so incredibly tanky.
Yeah.
Rift Herald just taken for free though, and it looks like Ono just owns this Baron pit completely, no pun intended. Be able to throw this one down. And T1 going to return the favor when it comes to this mid-siege.
You can see actually Faker waiting off at a bit of a flank, so turret will actually get defended here. It's not going to go down, but it is very low. And again, this is a 6 grub team from T1, so I'm pretty sure like 1 auto with the true damage bin would probably be enough to take that down.
Yeah, not a lot of time required to grab that one. And Zeus, he's getting to work on this bottom side. Faker then moves into the top lane, try and put pressure on the inner turret. And this is the thing, DRX are going to get stretched way too thin with the fact that T1's ability to move around the map and just always have that looming threat on these turrets. So incredibly scary. Carrier, he's the one now with that spare time. Gumayusi going to turn up alongside him, and that should be the outer turret in mid lane just going down. Not a whole lot that DRX could do about it.
And you know, I'm going to be honest, if they'd stayed there to try and defend it, it would have just weakened their side lanes, you know? Like, who potentially need protection to cover that bot tower, so... And also resets needing to come in, I believe, for Teddy there. So I think it's just the right call to let it go. That low HP tower isn't really helping you anyway. But now it means T1, with that mid tier 1 down, can really start to push deep and establish vision control in the Dragon area. It's a Mountain Dragon second.
Ooh, is it like Hextech, Infernal, Cloud? Could be Ocean, I guess, which would be a little bit sad.
Those are the Dragon Souls it could be. Thanks for listing every single one.
Yep, you're welcome, you're welcome. But there's a lot of them that are pretty good, is what I was really really trying to get to there. Well, I promise I wasn't wasting your time, Ox. I would never do that.
Hey, we're casters. That's what we're supposed to do.
Unless it's lore, in which case that can't be. As good buffer there from Faker, but he can't buffer the next one. There's the Flash Emperor's Divide. That's the kitchen sink, ladies and gentlemen, being used to take down the GOAT. And T1 should be able to use this to grab a little bit of extra control in mid lane, despite the fact that they will probably lose out on this Dragon.
Yep, DRX hopefully should just be able to clear this out. We can see Teddy moving then. He was the one who got the kill on the Faker, so big payoff. T1 just moved that pressure up towards the top lane though.
Yeah, this is not going to last very long. Teleport is going to be used here. That's going to bring Yahoo over, unless it was just interrupted by Carrier, in which case he's not going to be there to join. Frog does find himself the Impale, as Dawning Shadow is going to be what locks down the kill onto the Skarner in the end. Teddy trying to get some autos down, as my goodness, Sponge, he's not even able to take the Dragon without costing it his life. As now, yeah, he will go down. Faker takes a lot of damage though, and those plants need to be respected. Carrier now doesn't have a lot of damage, and so Yahoo, they're just fighting over the honey fruit. Oh, this is a battle for the ages. Carrier, I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win. The Nautilus is just too strong as he takes down the Pigeon, and look at that guy. Just saunters his way back to the bottom lane.
Such a close fight there, and a lot of rapid-fire decisions from T1 for that passage of play. And it started with a positive play from DRX. Peta gets the stun on Faker, follows up with the ult. Beautifully played from him to catch out T1's most fed member. And it's crazy this positive play for DRX finished like this. The TP interrupted by Carrier on the bot side. And then Ona able to evade this situation, and it costs Frog his life. And we see in the ensuing play, T1 actually take the inhibitor tower as well on the back of this.
Yeah, it was just, you know, Pletty going in, not really going to be able to do too much there. Teddy, without a front line, can't really do anything.
Oh, this was so brutal though. The double TP, they know he's on the Dragon. He still gets it though, and the plans do a lot of damage to Faker on the back end. But it's
the Stranglethorn's plants are very, very scary, and there were 3 of them there, so...
Yeah.
But this is so sad.
No, the fleet footwork came in towards the end, and I was like, maybe that was enough to swing it.
What was that, Carrier? Is what Ona was asking.
Just Carrier things, just Carrier with gold. You know, do we expect anything else? Nope. I feel like maybe a year or 2 ago, this might have surprised us, but this is just Carrier.
It is. And T1 are now cruising down these lanes with a whole lot of money. Zeus dealing with Teddy here as best he can. Teddy's still very, very strong, but the issue is that the leads are stacking up slowly but surely here for T1. And we've seen them in these game states so many times before. We know that they're like a well-oiled machine when it comes to just making sure they can take more, even if DRX is going to make a play. Because Yahoo, he wants another round. And Carrier says, no, I've already won this one. I am not required to fight once again.
And now Carrier's just proxy farming the wave behind the Azir tower.
Yep, trying to bait him into maybe getting him to leave so that then Zeus can come up and kill him. As Dawning Shadow will interrupt the back.
What'd you do?
Oh, no. Well, you get a teleport from your Skarner.
I love how they're defending this tower so heavily when it's an Azir tower.
Wait, who's defending who? Like, Solar Flare going to connect here onto Carriers. Over the wall goes Frog, finds the Ram. There is the Impale, and they take down the Nautilus. They need a lot to do it. That still could get them some respite, and the Baron has just spawned. T1 still with a gigantic lead, but making the best of a bad situation is what that kind of felt like.
That's the moment when Carrier says in old chat, you need 5 to kill me.
Yeah, exactly.
Come to the Baron pit, Yahoo will 1v1 again.
Well, we'll see whether he does decide that they're going to enter practice school after this game and have a Mundo off in the Baron pit. I really hope that does happen. Soul Flare, though, connecting from Pleta, even though he doesn't manage to land the Zenith Blade, it is definitely enough to just pick him up with the Impale. T1 not with enough members in the area, but also not enough in order to threaten a Baron at this stage of the game. Still very, very early on, and that thing does a fair bit of damage. 5,000 gold to lead as the dust is settling, and Faker is going to push another wave in towards this Skarner.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's just the goal difference is very big at the moment between these two teams. 2 dragon lead for DRX means that, you know, they can stall the game out. There's no pressure. They can give up these dragons and find time just to build up some gold. Because obviously at 21 minutes, a 5k gold lead is massive. 31 minutes, not as significant. So hopefully they approach it with that mindset. The main thing is not letting the Baron go over to the other side.
Also, like, the other thing as well is when you've got an opponent with so much control of side lanes and things like that, the problem is it's not going to be a static 5,000 gold lead if you let T1 do what they want to do, and that is continue to take down turrets in the side lanes, continue to stretch you too thin, and just take your stuff. So that may just keep happening.
But honestly,
okay, Frog making his way in, does manage to land the boulder, gets the Buster Shot out of the Scorpion.
Like, even with the gold deficit, DRX's team fighting is pretty good with their composition. Obviously, T1 masters of handling a team fight in general, but maybe there's an angle if we get to these 5v5s where they can find something. We'll have to see. But it is still that goal difference at the top of the board, so massive.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind if T1 just decided that they never want a team fight in this game. I don't think their composition is going to win by out-team fighting. I feel like it wins by putting Zeus and Faker in side lanes and having Carrier protect the President, Gumayushi, and then they should be able to survive almost any sort of siege being put up by DRX.
You know what I feel like they're going to do?
What?
They're going to do this crazy thing. You might not believe they'll do this, but being that it's T1, I think they'll probably start the Baron.
That may happen. Trishop Barrage was a decent attempt there from Teddy, but not quite fast enough. That will be the Cloud Drake secured. So T1 gets their first dragon.
Whenever I look and see Guma when he's near like an objective or a wave, I always just see so many souls on the floor. I feel like his soul RNG has been really, really crazy this game. I'm actually wondering how many he's on right now. 80.
80 is not bad.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's a large amount of souls. So Guma doing a very, very good job. Seen some pretty good center plays so far, and of course Guma has always been pretty good at it, even though there are some fans who do not like it when he's not on some of these more main character champions. His center is undeniably pretty fantastic, though. Hasn't lost that many games. Now, like you say, T1 are going to do that T1 thing where they start Baron. Ward goes over. DRX with full information as to what's going on here. And Frog, he can get into that pit very comfortably. Sponge, a lot of range available as well. And harassment in a tight space is something that Zyra is very good at. So I don't think T1 will be able to take this one if DRX knows what's going on. They might be able to take a team fight. You can see Zeus looping around, trying to get himself into a position to try and get something done. Doesn't have a great Narbal right now as Teddy. This is the kind of play we need to see out of him. Being aggressive, being in their face, and try to whittle down these health bars.
I feel like this is just how T1 play it, though. They see the teleport come in from Yahoo. That's enough. That's all they need. They get that, and they'll just keep working you down. Next time they start the Baron up, maybe they get Frog's TP. And then the time after that, maybe you don't have a teleport, and that's when they commit to the Baron plays. So they will just whittle down your resources in these situations. DRX doing a good job of responding. but every single one they will have to potentially pay for later on.
Yeah, I think they're just... It feels like DRX are just getting consolation prizes over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's not really getting you too much of an advantage when their direct opposition is the one giving it to them. Keria will take a bit of damage there. T1 back to doing what they want to be doing. Teleports available for both of these top laners here as the grasping roots is good. On to Faker. He's able to buffer. Just some Tristana things once again.
Oh, they've kind of forced DRX out towards the top side, though, so now Teddy's left alone to defend the tower. It's going to go so fast.
Yeah, he does have a True Shot Barrage, but it's not going to be able to save this turret, and that is just going to explode. Teddy able to Arcane Shift backwards. Now the rest of DRX trying to make their way over. This is a deep flank from Frog, who's trying to get in there. He's invested his teleport for it as well. If they get nothing for this, it could be an absolute catastrophe. Faker gets rammed into the wall, but it doesn't really seem to matter because the Impale doesn't land. There's the ulti onto Pleta, though. He goes in. DRX now have rebuilt the Phalanx as the spear is going to miss. But T1 have just said, we'll just keep you at arm's length. We'll just throw out what we can find without hard committing. Is never mind. Gumayusi has to cleanse, and there's Teddy. Grabs the Trinity Force proc and takes down the center. Faker now has to get out of there, and DRX, they now have a slight man advantage, but not really a lot to turn it into because the rest of their lanes are in dire straits.
So much posturing there, so much back and forth. Frog doesn't get the engage he wants, but that little execution on Aguma from Teddy and Pleta was really slick. They're heading towards the back. I mean, they have a Zyra. This might be a bit dangerous.
Teddy also had teleport, which I didn't really take into account here. So they have that extra teleport available. They might have to sacrifice a lot if they want to be able to get this Baron as, yeah, Keria booking it into the pit. Yeah, Ona's going to take a while to get over here. I think this Baron is going to go over to DRX. But what is going to happen elsewhere on the map? Faker actually deciding to teleport back in, and then Zeus teleports to the bottom lane.
The little exchange.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think, you know, Faker, if he had been given another opportunity, would have probably opted to just stay there towards that bottom side. They had known how fast that Baron was going to be. So DRX, I mean, once again, it's a consolation Baron. It's not even like the, yeah, like we made the play and we got a Baron now we've got control of the game. No, it's only a 600 gold Rebel Baron power play because they still lose their inner turret. It is still 7 turrets to 2.
But I will say, it does help stall the game out, you know, which you're against a Tristana, you're against a Senna. Obviously, these champions do scale really well, but the Nidalee, not so much. And I think DRX are starting to feel more confident in their team fights. They deny the Baron, they can now use it to push down this mid-tier 1.
Well, let's see
what they can get from it.
See whether it does work out here. As Plant's coming on out, trying to be frustrating. Pleta goes in, gets the rocket jump out of Faker. Should give Teddy some free time with this outer turret, and they will be able to at least take that. So, I told a lie. It was 7 turrets to 2 before, now it's 7 turrets to 3. Getting our way back into this one. As DRX playing patiently, definitely refusing to give up.
Well, you can actually see Zeus just went behind them and caught the waves, so they can't push anymore now. Now moving towards the bot lane, and they're going to get the Dragon as well. So mid-tier 1 going down obviously is nice. DRX now going to take this tier 2.
Yeah, they should.
Hoping for their sake they don't lose anything more in the bot lane, but Skarner just throws boulders and clears the wave, so I think he's okay.
He is going to continue to do that. Faker was coming on over, so if Frog was in a precarious spot, would have been disaster, but wasn't. Yeah, who's going to finish is Leandries, as we can see. That is 3 items now completed, as Crypt Bloom was opted into first. Sponge, thankfully, also does have that Rylai's finally done. Blighted Crystal there as well at the same time. So some item spikes coming on in as we have a look. The gold graph taking a little bit of a hit towards the end there, but you can see that T1 still retaining that 5,000 gold lead. But you were saying, like, 21 minutes was the last time we saw that. That gold lead has shrunk.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the game is in a better spot now for DRX than it was at 21 minutes. Obviously, still a big deficit. But I think as well, you look at where the deficits are, top lane, there is a pretty significant deficit, but Skarner doesn't need that much gold to be relevant.
Oh.
But Zeus is causing issues right now for DRX.
Yeah, a little bit of a ruckus as DRX are just going to double down. They're going to grab this inner turret in the mid lane. Zeus will be able to pick up the inhibitor.
He doesn't have a wave, so
yeah,
I guess they're just saying that's all he can do.
Well, Faker's going to try and push Frog away. True Shot Barrage hitting the wave mostly. Gumayusi, oh my goodness, Teddy looked at him and he takes so much damage here. That is going to be this inner turret falling down as well. And DRX, when it comes to the demolition, which is what they wanted to get done here, They have done a great job moving up to 6 turrets, really evening things out as Teddy not going to be killed by a Dawning Shadow this time. And Yehu made his way back to base. Notices that they've taken down some of their inhibitions, but it is fine. We'll be able to just get control back in that wave and just be happy that they have, you know, solidified their gold a little bit more.
I think when you're playing against a team like T1 in particular, it's so hard to make these decisions, like to say, you know what, let the inhibitor go, he can't do more, we're going to get more value on this side of the map. I think that's where weaker teams often struggle a lot,
yeah,
making those sacrifices and making the correct choices. And I think DRX did a really good job there. The gold lead shrunk a bit more again, and they are really just bringing their hopes alive in this game. 2 dragons now to T1, so it's even there, but they had that space, they had that time from those early 2 dragons they picked up. And again, the game still isn't an ideal spot for them. They're still going to have to deal with Faker and Guma in the late game on these picks, but it feels like they're still in it, and I think that's the main thing for them.
Absolutely. And I think that we sort of asked for this at the beginning of the day, right? It was, we want to see DRX really put up a fight today. That's going to help us, you know, feel like they are those contenders that we were considering them as when we were thinking so highly of them. Then they lose that game to Nongshim, and we're like, oh wait, maybe there's shades of the old DRX, maybe it's strength of schedule, these sorts of things. I think so far, DRX have shown that they're not quite there yet. They're still looking a lot better, and they are still absolutely in this game. Like you were talking about, not over until it's over. They have a lot of team fighting power as Sponge, as this Zyra, trying to get as much information as possible. Teddy steals away the Merc Wolf. Every bit of value is good value. Chaos, that's what we're looking out for.
Yeah, and I feel like that's been the thing with T1 is they built up these farm leads on, you know, the likes of the Gnar and the Nidalee, and that's really where this gold lead's coming from. Nidalee now with the Rabadons, but I'm not feeling too confident about the Nidalee's impact at this point. The Gnar, though, is still very relevant, but Teddy, he's just been, you know, even from the laning phase, he had a bit of an advantage, but I feel like a lot of their gold has really been funneled onto him. He's been picking up those kills.
And he hasn't gone for like the Frozen Heart third that we've seen a lot of Ezreal's go for. Spear of Sojourn is going to be done as his 4th item, but that's Mirror Mana, Trinity Force, and the Spear as well. Like, it's not with this extra defensive item, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a correct call, especially since, you know, he is the only AD threat on the team, and Ezreal still does like a decent amount of magic damage as well.
Yep.
With his ult, with his W, with his Z. So I think really making sure you do the maximum damage possible is important. And he will tear through basically anyone but Carry. And even Carry, I think he's doing a fair bit of damage with that armor pen too.
I would agree.
Carry is looking pretty tanky with his items in pocket. We can see T1 setting up for this Baron. Will pick up the Scuttle Crab. And Dragon up in about 30 seconds. So likely to get some sort of exchange here, whether it's a fight or a trade between these. But I know both teams definitely more focused on the Baron, and Teddy takes a huge spear there.
Yeah, the Rabadon's really looking a bit dangerous here.
You know, maybe I lied about the Nidalee impact.
Yeah, yeah.
Just hit a spear. It's that simple.
And honestly, that's what he's been trying to do. And it's not about the ones that miss. It's about that one that hits. Can really skew a fight in your favor. Teleport having to be invested off the back of a spear landing.
Oh, and now Dragon being started by Zeus. He can solo this. DRX sensed this. You know, they saw him take the Blast Cone. They're moving more aggressively now.
Yeah, Teddy once again taking a lot of damage as Faker down to 50%. Same can be said for Teddy, though. Really has to stand in this backline. There is the Drake secured by the Gnar, and Yehu moving towards that top side because this inhibitor is still not back up yet. 42 seconds on that one, so it's pretty close. This is really going to stretch DRX. Teleport available for Frog, but not for Yehu.
Teddy's
that means
low.
that, yeah, T1, they can just start this one up. And Pleta taking a lot of poke damage if he decides that he wants to come on over here. Teddy over the wall. They maybe think, oh, there he is, he goes in. Gumyushi has to flash. And Sponge still here threatening. Depth charge gonna be used on the Zyra, and they just burst down the Baron. Zeus is also just kind of winning the game casually by himself here as well. And DRX, I think they were stuck between a whole lot of different, very difficult decisions, and Spear is going to connect. Pleta is executed. Sponge, he throws down the Stranglethorns, but then he has to flash out of there. And I think this is the beginning of the end for DRX. Yehu There are a lot of plates spinning right now, but there's also a lot that are just lying strewn on the ground. They weren't able to keep up with all of them as T1 were just throwing too many decisions their way. Zeus, I don't know what that one was about, but he's got a GA, so he may as well dive underneath Nexus turrets, and he almost takes them all out as he does so. Onto the fountain goes Sponge, and he'll just have to watch as T1 finishes off the Nexus. DRX made him work for it, but didn't really feel close at many of the stages of this game.
And it felt like DRX really pulled back constantly over that big period of time from 20 minutes. They were slowly bringing the game back in their control. And in that one passage of play, T1 completely dismantled them. They got the Dragon, they managed to navigate the Baron, managed to secure it, deny the steal. Zeus was split pushing bot. It felt like they just switched on at that moment and knew exactly how to close the game out and reminded DRX why this team is so formidable.
Exactly. There's also the fact that certain things should not be given to T1, and things that aid you in your ability to pull back tempo of a game just shouldn't be allowed to be given to them, because T1 uses tempo so incredibly effectively. We saw it already that DRX there were too many things that they had to focus on. They dropped the ball in any one of these moments and T1 will capitalize. They absolutely did. Shoutouts to Teddy, though, did a lot of damage on his Ezreal. It just didn't really work out. And T1, with their domination of the structures, were able to take it down. But it is now time for us to go to a short break. When we get back, the space is going to break it down. We'll have game number 2. We'll see you there.
자르러 가면 탑 칠퍼 어디?
잠깐.
이거 와줄래?
천천히 해봐. 얘 나보러 온다.
나 바텀 텔
다이라 노플.
이거 끝내고 와자 이거. 바텀
이제
라인
여기
좋아.
있어. 이제 여기 있어.
이대로 들어온다.
더블 좀.
나 혼자 바로 묻혀도 돼 이제.
이제 노비죠. 천천히 밀자,
안
천천히.
걸렸고. 스카우 누구?
아질. 이즈 노플이야, 이즈 노플.
타워.
끝난 듯? 아, 좋았다.
이제 잡았다.
나이스.
나이스.
Target band on blue side, which they're going to do again, because why not? And DRX, you know, they banned Kalista, they banned Ashe.
Gumayushi banned Senna.
Oh, well, they opted to do that. Yeah, Guma didn't want to play center again.
Yeah, he was done.
But
I don't want to get 1v1 by the enemy AD carry. That's humiliating. I don't want that.
I'm not sure what really DRX can do to change their first 3 bans. And, you know, we're still going to see a situation where T1 gets some power picks, but they've completely modified their draft, even though they're on the same side.
Just
Rumble
wanting
now
a
has to be
different game.
banned by DRX, so it's going to be a Tristana first pick.
I'm assuming that this time DRX are going to go towards a Corki. That's what I'm assuming. But we'll see. First, it is going to be the Leona and the Zyra. So not opting in for their top lane pick. And of course, they did want to go for a Skarner, and that one has been now banned away. Cassante locked away for Zeus. And take that one away from Rascal, who has really enjoyed going back to that pick. And Zeri is locked in. So we're looking for a jungler and a support on the side of T1. And now, final pick, there's that Corki. And I think that this is a much better choice into the Tristana, even if I don't think it's good enough.
Yeah, well, I think it's a better lane, you know. I mean, the Azir we saw trading pretty heavily, had some moments, but I think Corki with the power in his Gatling gun early on can trade pretty well in the Tristana. You have that better damage profile already for the side of DRX. The one thing is, though, that you haven't responded to AD carry up top, so we can see T1 target that. Top lane probably makes a lot of sense, though there may be some bot lane picks you want to ban out. Lulu going to get denied, so we won't get the Zeri Lulu. Ezreal going again from Teddy. Obviously, did have a good game. I wouldn't be a big fan of Ezreal here, though. Just obviously, Zeri can be quite hard to connect onto. But
yeah, I wonder what the answer is into the Zeri alongside this Leona.
Kai'Sa, I feel like, is a pretty good one. Although I'm not sure how well it fits with the composition, but I think it works well with Leona. We'll see.
Alistar going to be taken away. Nautilus is sort of coming to mind at this point in time. Paired with the Zeri, we have seen it work out, and there is that Kai'Sa banned away by T1. So Teddy having to dig a little bit deeper. But Jinx has been something he's played in the past. I think Xayah is his fallback in many, many different games. I feel like the carry potential of the Jinx is a little bit higher, and he is going to lock that one in.
Yep.
Bit of a gambit here, but if they can start to get some of these resets, could be very dangerous, and they're saving Rascal's pick for counter. Diana and Rakan locked in by T1. Okay.
I was about to say Diana Rakan, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, so was I.
We all expected.
I mean, as soon as the Yasuo was locked in, it was a guarantee that we were going to get Diana Rakan, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, sorry. I mean, what? Rock! Rock! It's a rock!
You know what? I love it. It's just, you know, I think it went a little bit rapid fire there. T1 clearly want to consolidate their dive and get on top of this backline, get on top of this Jinx. So they fully commit. We're going all dive. AD carry is going to be diving in with us with this Diana Rakan combo. And then we've seen the Malphite and Cassante be a pretty good matchup, but also you're playing into double AD carry. That's a lot of Malphite value. And if they're trying to dive into your Jinx, you're just going to hit them with a rock.
Yeah. And Rascal has been one of our rock enjoyers. G-Sun has put up on our screen here, Rockskull.
Yeah, what was his favorite film? Or was he more of a wrestling fan?
I think it was probably his early stuff, because Rascal's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I'm personally more of like The Mummy. You know, I like his early work in film, personally. Especially with the expertly adopted CGI, which hadn't been used in many films other than something like Mortal Kombat 2.
We have that stuff, and then we have his jungle era, where he did like 7 films where you couldn't
He was just in the jungle? Yeah.
In the jungle.
Yeah, one of them was with Jack Black, and that was pretty cool.
I heard he got stranded in the jungle with a camera, and they just used the recording in all those films.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. It was very efficient, and Rascal really loves efficiency when it comes to the top lane. We haven't spoken about either of these drafts that were just presented to you, but we don't have to. We've got a game that's incoming, and the drafts will speak for themselves, and they're absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen here. Hopefully DRX are going to be able to bring us to a game 3, because it almost feels like Fearless. Yes, I know there's a Xayah in it, but man, let's get amongst it and see what happens in game number 2. All right, fans here in Lore Park in full voice. I think that there are still a few more on the T1 side of things. The DRX fans all still trying to get their work done as Teddy. Okay, he's going to find Guma here momentarily. Finds a rocket.
You know, honestly, I'm actually kind of feeling pretty good about DRX's composition, because they are going to outrange T1. And I feel like although T1 have engaged tools, they'll be engaging into a Xayah, a Leona, you know, Jinx Chompers. And you don't have to deal with Zeus playing a split pusher anymore. You know, he's playing the Cassante, which obviously needs to join team fights really to have the relevance. And you have a Malphite. I feel like just the Malphite alone is such a great selling point.
I would agree. I actually think that the Wombo value from DRX has gone up like through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you know, back in the day, you know, when gold players, you were playing with your friends and you do like, oh, let's do the Wombo combo comp.
Oh, yeah.
And it'd have, you know, Malphite, Leona.
Moo, Misfortune.
Yeah, they don't quite have that, but they're definitely going for that vibe.
Oh, yeah. It's feeling good. As Owner is now looking to start off the enemy Raptor camp. Zeus is moving in as well, but DRX are just going to push them away. It's a little bit of time bought by the DRX players. So they're not going to be able to hold the leash or anything like that, so still going to take them a little bit of extra time in this jungle, but no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I think maybe looking for an angle to challenge Sponge, but Rascal doing a good job of covering there. You know, if it was 2v1.
All right, there's a Zenith Blade in once again. Pletter just going aggressive.
Yeah.
Rockets being found by Teddy.
It works so well. You proc the passive with an auto from Teddy. It just does a decent amount of damage, and then you're going to have it back up again for when you hit level 2. So really good way just to utilize Leona when typically a lot of these engage supports at level 1 isn't that threatening.
Yeah. Working out nicely so far as, once again, Faker is trading very effectively into Yahoo. He's going to be able to at least get all of these minions just fine, though.
And, you know, as you were talking about last game a little bit, you know, we've seen in challenges... Oh.
Okay, there's some Flame Chompers going down. Carrier taking a fair bit of damage there, but able to battle dance his way out. Let's have the availability of that one at level 2.
As I was saying, we've seen it in challenges, but also even the LCK, like, you know, we've seen the Corki do really well into the Tristana. We've seen the Tristana do well. I feel like it is going to be one of these matchups where, depending on how the players pilot it, it can go in either direction.
I actually had Papa Smithy come into my chat when I was doing Challenger on Monday, and he was like, yeah, Corki pretty good in this matchup. I think there's a decent consensus that he does win, but we've just seen Tristana have so much value that doesn't really equate to like what's stronger in lane, right? It's more about what happens afterwards and how it's utilized and how safe it is.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting, as Owner is going to be able to take down his red buff. It's almost been a year since the Diana has been played in the jungle. It was Canyon losing to Umpty in one of the most famous losses of all time. Good stuff. Wow. I feel like we're harkening back to that time that Bro did winning when we weren't expecting it. Like, a lot of times this year, which is kind of cool. Is Sponge going to move on in, finds himself a plant for a bit of extra damage onto Faker? Yeah, gorgeous.
Just walk mid, hit him once, job done.
Yeah.
You know, but he did get a mana flow banned, I believe. I think I saw on his buffs there he got procced. So
yeah, I think so. I think
maybe that was a takeaway. Obviously, as a jungler, not really something you're going to be able to proc that often.
So yeah, you really do need to make as much use of any opportunity that you can get. As another Zenith Blade comes in, Flame Chomper's down instantly there as Pletter and Teddy's coordination looking pretty good here.
Yeah, really nice to see, because I feel like, you know, this was the old school counter to Rakan was Leona.
Yeah.
Sometimes we haven't seen it be as punishing, but when you play it like this, when you're trying to layer the lockdown as quickly as possible, it really can be, and Carrier being down flash, a bit of a hit.
Yeah, and Teddy being down a cannon, also a bit of a hit. As we're checking out the top lane matchup as, yeah, Rascal has to flash. Can we take the stats down now? Because they don't look great, yeah.
Just show it.
Yeah, just jinxed by our graphics team.
You got the cannon.
Yeah, Rascal is able to get a cannon, you're exactly right. It's throwing some wagon wheels around and things like that.
And it was a flash traded, so
I guess it was traded, so I guess that's fine.
it's okay.
It just looked bad because we came in at like the weirdest time.
Yeah. And Rascal would just say calculated. Rock solid.
No, he would just say rock.
Yeah.
Or yep. Or yep, rock. Any combination of those. As Faker is diving in, trying to get on top of Yahoo here. Fast bomb connection, and that means that a lot of damage does go back from this Corki.
I know that's a skin like every Corki uses in Pro, but it just looks so goofy when he Valks away and instantly turns around to auto, and you just see the little fins just flailing about.
Yep. But have you seen the rockets? Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, no. If anyone's wondering why it's always a skin, small rockets. Because there's so many great Corki skins.
I know. And the players that just pick Corki because they like it, you know they're making an in-game sacrifice.
Yeah.
In order to do that. Or they're Faker and he's just playing the base skin Corki, which is not as interesting, in my personal opinion. There are a lot of champions whose base skins look great. Corki is not one of them. And he's got so many great options. What about Toboggan Corki, you know?
Iconic.
Where is my Toboggan Corki? I want to celebrate the Winter Olympics. Okay, Grimyuji and Carrier back here in this lane. Teddy and Bled are doing a decent job, but still behind a little bit in the farm. Owner lying in wait. Wanted to find an angle here, as once again, Sponge just putting plants in the lane. And Owner comes down, does manage to land that Q, but Yahoo coming on over. Level 5 once again, as Owner is going to find the dash on the E. And First Blood, it happens exactly the same way, but this time Yahoo's there to answer. Still, Flash does have to be used here by Yahoo to get him out of the way of Faker, who will get that rapid fire going, trying to lock down the Corki, but unable to actually finish that one off. So control for T1, First Blood for T1. Still their advantage, but more back here this time for DRX than in game one.
Yeah, I love how Sponge is like, I just want to proc my runes, man. And Owner jumps in. punishes him for it. Yeah, so ended up having the Q down. And a lot of damage is done to Ona on the back of the root. Means the Phosphorus Bomb does connect. But I think Ona just survives a lot longer than they expect. The heal there from Triumph. But fortunately, Yehu takes him out before he gets any of the Honey Fruit. And then flashes the slow from Faker.
Yeah.
To ensure he gets out. So well played from Yehu to kind of redeem that play.
Yeah, very important stuff. You can see Sponge notices the fact that Ona is here on these grubs. I think he's going to be able to do too much about it here as the red buff going to be taken. Teddy actually cleansing the slow from the extendo beam.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest.
Not sure how
Not
worth that
sure
was.
you really needed to do that.
No.
You may have saved yourself from like half a Zeri Q, perhaps, if that.
Well, DRX about to get infinitely more grubs than they got in game 1. There we go. Beautiful. Rascal is a rock. Zeus is not as much of a rock. And that's the top lane. There you go.
I would say
couldn't cleanse that one,
is
sadly.
built a bit like the Rock, though.
Yeah, I would say so as well. It's okay. Teddy's dead. The cleanse wouldn't have been that useful, to be fair.
You know, maybe could it cleanse flash the carrier engage?
Maybe.
That's kind of the purpose you're taking cleanse in a situation to the Rakan. You can cleanse flash when he ults. Would that have saved him? Probably not.
No. And so he's dead, and that is a few plates going over to Gumayusi as well. So the Zeri situation is getting real worrisome. You can see 20 CS advantage as well.
That was a huge wave loss there. Yeah, bit of a rough one. And once again, T1 holding a pretty solid gold lead. 1.5k 8 minutes is nothing to complain about.
DRX going to once again look for the first dragon. Should be able to get in here and collect that one. As Ona is somewhat in the area, doesn't have his flash available. Teddy here pushing out this bottom lane, and bottom lane on a reset as well on T1's side. So that does mean that it's likely that DRX is just going to be able to pick this one up without too much contest. That is precisely the case. So we're going to check out this replay one more time. Carrier just kills Teddy, I think, is pretty much the way that we can talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, you could have avoided the knock-up from Carrier, but Carrier was still so healthy when he left the tower, and they had so much damage. I think he was just dead anyway. At least Teddy saved his flash, I think is the takeaway.
Whoa, that's an ulti, as All Out is going to be used here. Zeus takes 2 turret shots in the end. But yeah, he is an unstoppable force. Is this Rock? And Rascal, if we have a look, you know, doing fine when it comes to... Super Mega Death Rocket is spotted by absolutely everyone before it is avoided by Zeus. Nicely done there.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're firing it by mid, you know, there's this little thing called voice comms, and T1 are definitely going to be shouting at Zeus, like, watch out, watch out!
Yeah. Does mean that he can't get very much of his shopping done before he does complete the back, though, so that could be important. As okay, Sponge moving on up. Ona going to miss the Q. And some plants coming up here. Some teleports getting unleashed in the middle of a bit of a face-off, but...
Yeah, and you know, they look like they could potentially challenge Ona there, but Rascal doesn't have ult, so I think the safe call is to back away.
Yep. As Carrier looking a little bit silly there as Faker getting taken down to 30 still. There's the Solar Flare. It does connect very nicely. Great layering of CC here as Yahoo just really wanting to get the damage down onto Ona. Bit of Q value, but the health bars are so low on T1's side. Some free time with the turret should ensue from this one, and DRX, it feels like a step up here in game number 2. That's what I'm feeling right now, as Sponge can smell blood in the water. Gets the plant over. Grasping Roots come down. And there is Zeus on that flank angle. He is at full health, just wanting to find someone to hit with his abilities, but it's Yahoo. Oh dear, bit of Owen Wilson as he gets a control ward down. Gumayusi doesn't find the extendo beam. He gets over the wall. Carrier not able to lock him up just yet. There's a blast cone there. Valdez, there's a blast cone there, and it is going to be denied. Beautifully done, T1. Lock down the kill onto the enemy mid laner.
That one was for Brendan Valdez.
That was.
Save it.
As Carrier just barely sidestepping that one. That was pretty cute. As Faker has just pushed Teddy around and slams him into the wall. We'll be able to take the solo kill there. A little bit of an overextension from the Jinx. Oh dear, Teddy not having as good a game here in game number 2 as it was in game number 1.
And it feels like just as DRX get a bit of an edge, you see that 2v3 mid lane.
Let's
felt
not
like
draw
a
attention to the caster curse, shall we?
And immediately they're punished. T1 just slammed down. That TP from Zeus really well read. Rascal didn't TP in return because they just didn't expect it. And it ends up panning out really badly. Also, Guma having the prio moving up here to capitalize on this. Yeah, who just had nowhere to go. And honestly, I think he played this as perfectly as you can. There was just nothing more he could do in this flash from Carrier.
Yeah.
Really sharp.
I think the flash auto, they're really guaranteeing that they're able to lock that one down. So nicely done. DRX with a bit of a fight for vision here towards this top side. Do have some grubs up and available. That's what they're fighting for. Yep, already. Owner getting to work there. Going to be able to take at least their third. Sponge probably not going to
6 this time.
Yeah, not 6. Probably 5 is what I'm seeing right now. As, all right, there's the engage from Pleta. Finds another solar flare, and the layering of CC is gorgeous. Faker just couldn't do anything the whole time. And now Rascal's a rock. He's flashing, he's dashing, he's getting out of there. He must have ulted in to try and deny something. Wasn't able to get a grub, and is now going home with a lack of cooldowns.
Did he blast cone in or something? Because he ulted out and then flashed, so... I don't know how. We need to see a replay. We can speculate all we want, but I kind of need to know how that went down. Regardless, Rascal does survive, but he burns everything.
Yep, and now burns the teleport, so he's made sure that he's getting as much value, like maximum cooldown value right now, as it is all ticking back up again.
And now he's burning the minions with Sunfire Cape.
Gorgeous.
So, yeah, I mean, this was really a nice layering of CC. Tristana obviously normally feels safe. Carrier blocked the zap, but it all comes together.
I think,
yeah, he was ulted in. He was ulted in by... I just saw on the minimap, Zeus ulted him into the pit.
The timing of that one by Pleta as well. Gets the control ward in, Hex flashes into the brush, and then makes sure that T1 just had no time to react to the Zenith Blade going forward.
And you know,
beautifully orchestrated.
I feel like the priority on Leona from DRX has been maybe a bit higher than I expected, but Pleta has been playing it really well. A lot of the picks in the first game and these plays here have come on the back of his proficiency on this champion, so hoping to get some more value of that as this game goes on.
Yeah. He's considering a bit of a back angle right now. Blue buff collected by Sponge pretty calmly. Plate's going to fall down in 5 seconds time. I think slightly less damage done to the structures of DRX in this game than in game number 1, where, you know, T1 were kind of demolishing everything. Something that I am worried about, though.
They got 5 Void Grubs. Well, last time they had...
Yeah, there's the value.
Oh, equal plate gold. And the same plates from the same place.
There you go. And also, it's equal dragons. As... Oh, man, that was almost not. But Super Mega Death Rocket not quite going to get there. As Yahoo doesn't have now his Trinity Force completed. So first items coming in for basically everyone. I think some very important ones, of course, you know, Sponge getting to Leandri's. 2 items is probably what you really want, when Rylays really allows the synergy to come on through. But Trinity Force, a big one for the Corki. We'll see whether DRX can utilize that as Pleta. Once again, just getting zapped.
We saw the goal lead at the bottom.
Ow.
Overall, not doing as bad as last game, but in the AD carry role, it's pretty rough. Most of the goal lead is between the Zeri and the Jinx. And
how much winning has Zeri done so far this season?
I think a decent amount.
Yeah.
Been
almost
winning
all
champion.
all of the winning.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Zeri thing. Is Faker going to rocket jump? Pleta looking to come on in here now that that one is on cooldown. Solar Flare avoided completely, and I don't think that was ever going to hit. You know, Pleta's had some good play so far this series, so we'll give him a pass on that one, as it's now Sponge's turn. Flashes, misses, can't really miss that one, but Faker's just going to press W and say, all right.
Yeah, not the best overall from DRX. Try to overforce that one.
Yeah.
And this is why people like Nautilus and Vi. Can't miss with those champions.
Yeah.
Leona and Zyra, definitely an opportunity to not connect with your skills, and that's what ends up happening. And now, Yahoo.
The revenge of Faker is coming in here, as now Carrier finds the quickness onto multiple members. It's a great Valkyrie, but I don't know whether, even with the flash, that's going to get Yahoo out of here, as yet cut down where he stands. Zeus will take a bit of damage back in the interim, but oh dear. DRX, there have been some good moments, but then there's been some catastrophes, and that was one of them.
Yeah, feels like they just overcommitted bot to try and get the kill on a Faker and paid for it so heavily.
The global taunt of Faker has been around since 2013, at least. And by at least, I mean, like, he started playing in 2013. It's been around forever. And it is continuing to be a thing. And this is the punishment that comes off the back of it.
Yeah, I mean, Carrier does a great job of setting it up, but especially since Faker gets the reset, nothing you can do there. And they don't even have tools like the ultimate from Sponge to really counteract, so just ends up backfiring pretty heavily. Now, trying to apply pressure to this top tier 1, but again, Carrier moving over to try and combat this.
Yeah, should be able to get full information as to the members in the area. Faker has the opportunity to either back away or set up for yet another response. He's been very, very good at absorbing pressure so far this game. Sponge, he gets zapped. It's now Ona on the prowl, wants to find an angle. And the Zyra, of course, in melee range with the Diana is just going to be having a horrible time. Lichbane now completed. Good sidestep of the zap as Yehu does not want to go anywhere near this T1 bottom lane.
And it feels like T1 are really setting the pace of this game, just moving about, applying pressure, and kind of some of the game 1 where they just took structures all over the place. Now looking to go for this mid-tier 2, you can see Zeus as priority bot, he moves over. What can DRX do?
Well, I don't know. We'll see whether Pleta has an answer. I think defending the inner turret was an impossibility. That is just going to go down with that one charge from Shelly. So she gets a headache, but going to be worth it here for the extra money in the bank. And Zeus, we thought that he was going to have a bit more trouble split pushing. It's not looking like it too much, although he doesn't do a lot of damage to the turrets. Only 5 grubs as well. Only 5.
Only 5.
Only 5. Doesn't have very much of that extra damage, you know what I'm saying? He does, and he's still probably going to be a threat in these side lanes. Okay. Let's see whether it's going to be stolen. It isn't. Ona was just waiting for that rotation back, being very patient here in the enemy jungle. As Pleta is going to blast cone his way in, and yeah, they're not going to walk that way, Ona, because Faker showed himself in the top lane. And that's who DRX have decided they're going to kill this game.
Yeah, not sure you're going to get any better results than last time with how he's positioning.
Yeah.
But Dragon spawning at 35 is an Ocean Soul. You know, there is a decent amount of bulky members who get some value from it, but definitely not the highest priority Dragon as far as things go. And yeah, Ona, once again, building up a significant lead. And really, that's where the gold lead's been coming from jungle, but also AD carries.
Yeah.
Is where the big advantages are. Faker actually fallen a bit behind in terms of farm, but, you know, he has those 3 kills under his belt, so I don't think he's too bothered at all. Now, DRX heavily coming in for this topside turret. They will zone carry away, and they should be able to get this and an objective bounty, but they are sacrificing Dragon for it.
Yeah, if you're going to be thinking about being mean, that was a zoning miss of abilities from Sponge. As the Drake going to be started here by Ona.
That's the beauty of Zyra, right? You miss abilities, but you spawn plants, and they do the job for you.
Exactly. That's why I play the champion. You spelt it out, and it is as beautiful as you say. All right, Corki waiting in the wings. Kumiushi spotted on vision here as well, so they know kind of what's coming towards this bottom side, but not really going to get too much out of it. Back to come through as now Faker. I mean, if at first you don't succeed, try to kill Faker again, I think is how it goes. As Teddy's moving on down towards Sponge. Pleta coming on in once again. All right, just wants to walk up to Faker. Does get Buster shotted, and that was beautifully played.
That was so close, though. The Zenith Blade nearly connected, and if it did,
he just follows him the whole way. Yeah. But T1 are now just sieging here towards this bottom side. There's the Grand Entrance on top of the rock, who's pretty tanky, but not quite tanky enough. Moonfall coming on in there from Ona. And Rascal, he will be able to soak up all of this damage, but the inhibitor is still going to go down. The job has been done here by T1, and DRX have not been able to answer now. All of Rascal's health is back. He's teleported in, but where's everyone else? What are they going to be able to do? Can they actually hold on to this one is the question. As in goes the Kazate, and it's a double kill for Gumayushi. The Rock has done nothing. He hasn't been able to get in there and affect anything because T1, they just turn on the squishy members. They take him down. It's a triple for Guma. And maybe the game's just over here.
Yeah, they have a minion wave. Rascal doesn't have ult. He didn't have it when he tried to flank. Yeah. And now Teddy's trying to defend. But the human Nexus, I'm not sure he can do it.
They might be able to kill the real Nexus, though, even if they can't kill Teddy. And this game was kind of a game until it was just done. Nexus goes down 21 minutes here for T1 as they'll finish off DRX here in this series.
And it feels like game 1, DRX made a decent amount of headway, clawing back the gold lead, extending the game, making it difficult. Game 2, T1 were done. They had no time to mess around, and they decimated DRX, reminding everyone why they're one of our top teams in the LCK. I think DRX, you know, there's some takeaways from game 1. Game 2 was just rough. Really a pretty harsh defeat, but I feel like that's kind of what we expected from the matchup between these two teams.
I would agree. I think that DRX came in with us thinking that maybe there's been some improvements made, but I think maybe that strength of schedule argument has gotten a little bit healthier And T1 definitely still to be considered an absolute force here in the LCK, despite not being able to take a win off Gen G. No one's been able to take a win off Gen G except for KT in that one game where they abused Center Nautilus before people knew that it was Giga broken. So, I don't know. I think that T1 are looking pretty good, especially as we have a pretty cool telecom war coming up on the weekend, as we're going to see them not play at LoL Park. Going to be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's going to be sick. I do think on the back of this game, this series, it is looking rougher and rougher for KT in that matchup. But
yeah, no, but like, imagine if KT lose to Bro and then we have a telecom war.
I feel like the lower the expectations get, the higher the chance for an upset.
Right, it's like winding up.
Yeah, it's
and
like
you have to go backwards to be able to, like, you know, you remember those cars where you like pull them back and then they go,
yeah. That's how
we're still pulling back on KT, hoping that they find some sort of burst of acceleration in the other direction.
That's how the KT fans feel, like just in a constant loop of just that cycle. Yeah. Well, yeah, this game was a lot more rapid fire. T1 just really using their pressure well. I think countless times managed to put Teddy behind. Obviously, he was more of a problem in the first game. But it really felt like Carrier, I think, had a big impact in this one. Really making his presence known, really finding angles to set up ganks, set up plays. And there wasn't there was a moderate amount of action, but it really felt like there wasn't that much team fighting until the end, and then it was one fight and done.
Yeah, and a lot of it kind of felt like just math, right? Like, T1 just had more people ready to fight DRX, and they did everything on their terms. They told DRX this is what's going to happen, and DRX didn't have any of the answers. And this teleport comes in.
He doesn't have ult.
And yeah.
So I'm not sure. He's like, I'm going to walk at them and queue them. And that's what he does. And then he's like, okay, my job's done. It's up to you guys.
Oh, Carrier and Zeus together here in this moment, just gorgeous.
Yeah, it was a very... I think DRX definitely felt desperate in this moment when they went for this play, but T1, no hesitation when it comes to punishing. And yeah, I mean, it's funny though, because I was talking about thinking like, what's the fastest game of the split? I'm like, we really rapid fired through them.
We had quite a few of them.
Yeah, so I don't think this will top them.
Yeah, the fastest game of all time was 16 minutes and 54 seconds, but our fastest one for this season was 24:07. And so now, oh wait. So now this was the fastest game of the season.
Oh, by 3 minutes. So even more record. You know, we had
we didn't have time for a graphic to come up because the game went from it's a game and turned into it's done extraordinarily quickly. So there you go. Congratulations, T1, fastest game of the season. Yet another record broken. We're really doing them in order, right? Because it was like record broken, record broken, record broken, and now once again. So 4 times in a row. Wait, it was game 2 last week. Sunday, like, first match, game 2, and then games 1 and 2, we had the record, broke the record, and then had... I can't wait for the 19-minute game coming up next.
Oh man, it's just going to keep going faster.
What are the teams?
Like a 3-minute game?
No, surely it couldn't happen. It's Gen G versus Humble Life Esports. Perhaps it could. We'll just have to see. But first, we've got to break down this series. So let's throw it back to the space, and they can get to that.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POG interview translation, joined by Owner and Carrier on the side of T1. Congratulations! Owner, this is your 3rd consecutive victory and T1 has moved up to 2nd place. How do you feel? It feels great. It was a clean 2-0 victory, which makes me pretty happy. And Carrier, this will be your first summer POG. How do you feel? It makes me happy that I'm able to receive POG. Owner, we finally got your Nidalee today, and the moment Nidalee was locked, the fans went wild. And many joking about how their bingo card is now complete. So, since you're good at her, why did it take so long to play her? For today, for instance, I feel like we had a really good angle to play her, and it went really well. I got really lucky, and everything went really well. And in the LCK, Nidalee had a pretty low win rate compared to how high her pick rate was. With 5 wins and 8 losses, with a 38.5% win rate, Why do you think her win rate is so low?
제가 한 판밖에 안 해가지고 그러는 거지 않을까라고 생각합니다.
You know, maybe because I played her only once. Maybe that's why.
이런 말씀해 주셨습니다. 그리고 캐리아 선수 1세트 노틸러스로
캐리아.
아지르를 솔로킬을 내는 장면도
In game 1,
나왔는데요.
you
저희가
solo
동시
killed the
준비했습니다.
enemy mid Azir with
그
Nautilus.
장면에서
We have a replay ready right here.
를 먹으면서 마지막까지 혈전을
You were taking up some
이길 수
honey
있을 거라고
fruits
생각하셨는지
and
궁금합니다.
fighting until the very end. Did you think that you would win here?
죽기 전에 잘 쳐주고 가셔가지고.
Yeah, so Faker actually marinated him so well before dying off. And I decided, you know, I already knew that I would be able to win here, so it wasn't that hard. How did it make you feel when you killed him? Oh, so I actually knew that Azir didn't have his E, and I was pretty certain that I would kill him. And everyone else was saying that he still had E's, which made me a little nervous, but I was able to win, so I'm glad. So who told you that he still had E? I think it was Faker. And Owner, you played Diana in game 2. How did you come up with this pick? Just looking at the enemy comp, I just thought that Diana would work really well against their comp, and it was also a choice based on how we had Rakan as our support pick. And in game 2, Keria, what an amazing gameplay with Rakan. And you guys had such early control, and you roamed mid, then right back bot into the tower dive. So walk us through your decision making. So being able to roam well really depends on how well your solo laners are playing. So given that all three top, mid, bottom solo laners are doing really well and just setting everything up, that's why I was able to pull this off. And in game 2, you guys set the new fastest game record at 21 minutes and 8 seconds. So how did you guys end the game so quickly? I think our damage dealers were able to poke them down really well. And everyone else who is supportive was able to pull off some really good engages. That's probably why. And this Saturday showdown will be a home ground match between T1 and KT at Goyang Sono Arena. What are you looking forward to the most? This is something new that we're trying in the regular season, which is great. And I believe that we will have a really big audience. It'll be a good big match. And so to reach everyone's expectations, I hope that we can prepare well and make sure that we do our best. And Keria, what's your resolution for the home ground match? Being able to get this new experience during the regular season makes me very excited for the upcoming match. And I want to show everything that we got to our fans. Thank you so much. And that's the end of the interview from Owner and Keria of T1 and Back to the Space. Thank you.